Here is my fishing poles part 2. This is my LL Bean rod that I got a couple years ago. It's a good trout rod. I use it usually when I'm fishing the kettle ponds on Cape Cod. But I was using it for perch the other day. It's a 4'2", I think. It holds 2 to 6 pound test. It's 5 foot. But it's pretty light. Nice packable rod. Nice bend. 2-piece. I want to say it was around $30 for this at LL Bean, but it comes with a nice reel. Let's see, it's a nice one. Now I'll get my other rods. This is one of the rods I usually use. It's the Versatile rod. It's a 6-footer Shimano Solar with a Shimano Solar reel. I got this. It works. It's a versatile rod, bass, trout, anything you really want to do, you can do, but I haven't set this rod up yet. I've only used it twice this season for trout down the Cape when I do a fishing tournament down there, but this is a nice rod and reel setup. Very cheap, on the market for good money. I like this. I think this was one of my first rods when I got into trout fishing. This is my bass rod, a 6-footer. This is a Stilsar rod from down south. I got this at a yard sale, the rod, and then I bought, this was one of the reels that my dad had. It's a VPF 30 by Stilsar. But I use this for bass. I got a bobber here that I use with a shiner on this big hook. I went to the A1 site in Westboro, Massachusetts in my kayak, and I had probably at least a 4-pound pickerel on, and I lost it right at the boat when I was getting the net out. I lost it. This was all the way over on a 4-pounder, so that fish was probably a state pin. It was a nice big fish, big fish. So this is my bass rod, and then this is my rod that I use at the reservoir in Boylston, Boylston and West Boylston in Sterling, Mass. I use this is a Eagle Claw Water Eagle 6'6" spinning medium weight 4-pound 12 test line. I have 10-pound on here with an egg slider and a small saltwater fishing bead that you put on above your lures. I use it here because usually when you're trout fishing, you put something before your egg slider, like a snap swivel or a small split shot. But I use these because they float up easier, and then I have a small hook here that I use to put behind the shiners. And it came with a crappy reel. I didn't like the reel, so I went to the sporting goods shop and bought a Field and Stream fishing reel it's a Rivera 10, 8 bearings on it. Works really good. I caught some fish at the reservoir on it, and this thing bends right over. It's a very light pole, and I love it. And this bends right over, and it gives you a good fight, especially on those smallmouths out there. Now, my fly rod up here. This is from the New England Fly Tyers Youth Outreach Program with a full setup, line, reel, tippet, everything you'll need for starting. It's a Clearwater 2 Orvis reel with floating line. It's an 8-foot fly rod. Works great. I use it a lot on the trout streams like the Quinnipoxet. That's a good rod. And then I got my saltwater poles over here. My canal rod. And then just my other versatile bluefish rod with a storm shad on it. This plug right here was made by a kid I met down on a dock in Yarmouth. We were catching porgies and sea robins, and we got talking, and he gave me that, and I gave him some bucktails that I tied up. So then I have a rod that my grandfather used right here. It's an old one. It was one of his grandfather's rods, and he stripped the guides off of it. He was going to retie it, and then he didn't want to, so he gave it to me to retie. So, but I'm going to go out to the Cody's Fly Shop this weekend and get some new guides, because these are all rusted out. Really bad, like it would rip your line. Thanks for watching.